You are listening to A Chatteroffact. Again, these are not interviews, they're conversations, and you're here. Hi.
Hi.
We have Sarah Moore with us today, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening. And this is great because you're doing it. I've known you for a long time.
It's been like over a decade.
I was wondering, was it after, because you went to school with my brother Paul?
No, my husband went to school.
Oh, I thought
Paul.
you went to school with all those guys.
I did not.
Oh, okay.
But
Where'd you go to school then?
I went to high school in Griffith.
Oh, okay. Griffith, Indiana.
Correct. Tiny Griffith, Indiana.
Yeah.
And met my husband when I was a junior in college. I came home, such a strange story. I was studying in London.
Oh.
And I had 3 or 4 weeks off between studying in London, and then I went back to work in Ireland for 2 months. I worked in a black box theater in downtown Dublin, which was wonderful.
Wow.
Super fun.
Wow. That's cool.
But I was home for about 3 weeks, and while I was here, I said I would stage
Fall in
manage.
love?
I said I would stage manage a show.
Oh.
and during the course of that, I met Jeff, who became my husband, and we sort of did like the little flirty, like, oh, you're really great. And then I was like, cool, I'm going to Ireland. I'll catch you later.
Oh, no.
And I thought that was nice, but, that's probably nothing's going to come from that. But I landed at Heathrow Airport, and before I made my connecting flight, I checked my email and sent all the messages home that was like, hey, I'm here and I'm safe and blah, blah. And I had an email from him, and sort of the rest is history. He picked me up from the airport when I got home after those couple months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we
kept the fire burning.
Yeah.
Were you just constantly emailing back and forth?
We emailed a lot, and I would get up early before work, and he would stay up late, and we would.
Oh my God! This is like
message.
A romantic. Oh.
Yeah, over the internet, and then we did some phone calls because I would get like a certain amount of like international minutes, and I would call him. And
whenever you're out of like cool geeky stuff to do, you guys will have to do your Hallmark movie. Because I'm talking to a geek.
Super geek.
This is so. There's so many reasons why I'm happy to talk to you today. Because for one thing, it's all about progress and just about what people do and how they handle their stuff. And the fact that you are like. You'd mentioned on the phone, we talked for our 2 minutes yesterday, and you said something like, steady crawl or steady pace, and, slow and steady, I think is what you said.
Yeah, slow and steady.
What is the name of the web series?
My web series is called Gamer Chick.
Okay, so folks, this is really cool, and this is what I love about you and about Jeff. You guys start this Gamer Chick thing because you are you're a gamer chick. Like in reality,
I
you
am.
are, right? So you brought that to your show, and we'll get into all that stuff.
Okay.
I want to like really talk about why you're here, because I've noticed people tell me how much within the first 10 minutes of listening they're Googling and everything, so it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, so you're doing your show, which you guys write and then direct and produce the whole thing.
Yep.
True Gamer Geek Show, which is great, and it's a lot of fun. And what I like about it is like it's you in general, and we'll get into like the finer points of this because this is going to be great for the artists that are listening who just don't feel like it's working out, or maybe they're auditioning for whatever Chicago Fire or whatever they're doing, and maybe some of it's happening, maybe some of it's not. There's something about just if you can't be in the show, you make the show, and the things that you've done to slowly and steadily create this like fan base, and I've seen it, because I keep tabs on you, and I can see how suddenly you're appearing at different Comic Cons or Gen Cons, and suddenly you're getting these small indie movie roles, and just the attention that the show gets, and the things that have happened for you because of the show, and the way you push. You're really good. You're not overbearing. You like put your stuff out there, and it's a consistent kind of push of this is what I'm doing.
Right.
It's not even necessarily this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, because a lot of people are just, well, look at me, but you're more about look at what I'm doing, and you do it in the right way, and people need to realize too, and people who do what we do.
Yeah.
I'd mentioned this talking to somebody on one of the earlier podcasts. There's no team. We're the team.
Right.
I don't know if you ever run into, the negativity of like, oh, she's probably so full of herself. It's like, no, I have to do this, or there's no other way that you're going to know that I'm doing it. And not only that, if I don't do it, nobody else will. So if you're my friend, don't judge. Do it. Do it for me. And why don't you do it?
And
so
I think it's not just like, I don't know that I run into you're so full of yourself. I run into that can't be possibly who you are.
Oh.
I get that.
The disbelief.
Yeah, I get, because and it's interesting because I've had it where I've gone into comic shops and like I know more about comics than my husband does. Like I'm the one that likes comics in our house.
We're totally geeking out. This is going to be like the best podcast ever because we're going to get into you and we're going to geek out like about everything. Because Marvel movies are coming out. And stuff.
Man, I'm so excited about that.
Oh, good. All right.
But
anyway.
but I've gone into comic shops and had them blatantly say to me like, "Oh, are you here to pick up something for your boyfriend?" Like, why is that the first thing out of your mouth? And every time I do like a panel or something about Gamer Chick, the first question I always get, and it is always from a dude, is, so do you actually game?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I don't feel like I need to like justify my nerd cred to you.
You know what though? But here's the thing: you're an actress.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, how many times do we see somebody in a comic book movie and but I've never read the source material, which actually annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit,
yeah.
What did you?
Yeah. Well,
so there's something to be said for that.
I'm often on the panels not as an actress, as show creator, because I write it. I write it and produce it and act in it.
But again, I mean, I think even I don't even think Christopher Nolan was like too much into, or think of like the early Michael Keaton Batmans.
Michael Keaton will always be my Batman.
You know what? He is I
love him.
Well, he never did the "Where's the trigger?" the voice.
I feel like they're just gonna like. I want to just give him like throat coat tea. Like all the time. Did you ever see?
It's college. I think it's called College Humor on YouTube. And this guy nails the bat. People like.
Is he Bat Dad? Is it that one?
He's.
Have you seen
I think
Bat
they call
Dad?
it Bad Man.
Oh, Bad Man.
But everyone, if you want, you can even pause the episode. Get on YouTube. The first one I saw, somebody sent me Batman Can't Stop Talking About Sex. And it's the scene where he finally beats Bane. Spoiler alert, I guess, but come on. Where he beats Bane down, and whatever, the girl ends up being the bad guy, and she stabs him or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he's like, "Where's the trigger?" For one thing, like best Batman impression ever,
nice.
Right? And they play out the scene very similar to the scene. It looks dark, it looks real, the costumes look good and everything. Bane has that voice,
weird thing on him.
Mm-hmm. But he's doing the voice like to a T, and then he gets stabbed by the girl, and then he looks back, and the score's sweltering, and then all of a sudden he stops, and he's like, "What? But we totally did it." And then all of a sudden, they're like, "We have the trigger, we're blowing up Gotham," but this guy can't. He's just talking about the fact that they screwed, and that's the whole thing, But
perfect.
His impression is so good, and it got so popular on YouTube that now there's like 5 of them, including one where it's how he found his voice, where he like grabs, it's like Batman Day 1, and he grabs a bad guy and he's hanging him out, off of like a ledge, and he's like, "All right, now you've been a bad guy," and the guy's like, "Whoa, I don't feel fear at all."
That's not scary.
And he goes through like, Al Pacino, like he just goes through a million voices, and finally he's like, "Okay, wait a minute." And the guy's like, "Oh, hey, that's good." He's like, "No, I just lost my voice." Yeah, no, that's good. But anyway,
that one.
I hated the Batman voice. I love the movies were good, but I didn't like the Batman voice.
I like the world that they created.
Yeah.
They're being really like gritty and lived in.
Let's talk about the fact that if you watch a decent TV show with great fast-moving fight scenes, the fight scenes are really cool.
Yeah.
But how about the fact that like the Batman in comic books, he's like the best fighter in the world.
Yeah, he's a ninja.
Yeah, he's basically the best there is.
Yeah.
And I think the fight scenes were just slow, kind of bulky. I know you have the costume on, but I thought they were. Look at that, and then look at some of the YouTube fan-made videos of Batman, and that guy's like whipping it up. So like that kind of that's the main thing that lost me. That, and then I need a superhero moment. I need that one moment where you're just like, yeah, where you're just cheering for the good guy. And they were so focused on making it real, like the vibe,
Yeah.
that they never they needed to just nudge him just that little bit to make him a bit better than.
Well, I mean, he's in this like fantastical world.
Yeah, they did a great job at that.
But I feel like they can allow him to have moments that are bigger than life.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting people like the Joker, like that's not a dude that you're gonna find in our world. So like you can give him that moment of where he can do something that we as normal people cannot do, because that's what makes him so great.
Yeah.
So
that's the only place that they lost me, because performances were great, stories were cool, and the world they created was great, but just that one, they were so focused on making it real.
Yeah.
That they forgot they were making a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And then
at its heart, it is a comic book.
Yeah.
And you cannot keep parts of the comic book and not have that be pervasive in the entire world. Otherwise, it's going to take you out of it.
I'm older than you. I was a little kid. I was like in second grade or something, but I saw the Christopher Reeve Superman, and I remember there's a moment where he has the Superman moment. I think she's falling out. Lois Lane's like falling off a building or something.
And he catches her.
And then she looks up, and the helicopter's going to fall on them. And then he catches that. And I remember the whole theater like erupting. Like, the spectacle. It was a superhero moment.
Because you just get so jazzed about it. Like, that's so awesome.
They never get, even Batman gets his ass kicked by Bane, and then he comes back like, all right, now I'm going to fight you slowly. And then maybe beat you. Like, there was nothing about that was, and then, whatever the other one was where, the autopilot in my ship is broken, or maybe it isn't.
Who knows?
Like, who cheered? Like,
I think Marvel has found the formula.
Nobody's got it better than those guys.
I think Marvel has found the formula, and I think DC is still looking for it.
DC's lost because they do this. We're so going to get into Sarah Moore, but now we're geeking out on movies. But I mean,
no, but this is Sarah Moore. This is what I do. So we're good.
I'm hugging you from afar right now, just because I love this. We're gonna have to just hang out more, just because of this. I live for this kind of stuff.
Yes, let's do it.
Well, yeah, it's funny because and it's weird because you have to separate what real Marvel movies are and what the not real Marvel movies are. I don't know if you know about all those weird logistics going on. Like, Spider-Man isn't owned by Marvel anymore.
Yeah, Spider-Man is owned by Sony.
Right.
And because Disney bought all of the Marvel rights, which I think is great.
Oh,
because Disney, there's no company that knows how to protect a brand like Disney.
They know what
they know how to promote it, and like they acquired Star Wars, and I peed my pants a little. I was really excited about it.
Well, you know what they do with the Marvel things? They put them in their own building. And they don't walk in there. Mickey Mouse does not go into the room like, hey, what are we doing? Give me a cameo.
Yeah.
Like, they let them do what they do, and they're like, oh, and here's our Disney money.
Also, let's just support you in being awesome.
You. We're not gonna like try. They care. They know that they know their fan base.
Yeah.
And they're letting them do it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say the last Spider-Man movie, again, there's a moment where he first sees Electro. So look at Amazing Spider-Man 2. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I should just peek in my...
The one with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
The second one.
So the second one with Andrew Garfield, where he's, Jamie Foxx. Okay, so Ray Charles is Electro.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he's there throwing electricity, and they're giving money, and they're doing all that thing. And then, wow, that would be great if Ray Charles would have played Electro. Too late, I guess, but still.
Man. Missed opportunity.
They're doing the thing, and there's one moment where he notices like there's electricity all over the floor. And it's I think it's like working its way up to like a stairway of full of people.
Yeah.
And they do this slow motion thing, and it's a little campy, but still he like has this moment where he has to figure out a way to stop people from electrocuting themselves, because the whole ground becomes electrocuted, and he flips back, and the music is perfect, and the scene is perfectly shot.
And it's allowed to be campy.
Yeah, he stops, and he like did it. And for that moment, you're like, superhero.
You're like, yeah, man.
Superhero moment.
You're the greatest.
Yeah, and that's the middle of the movie, where none of the Batman movies, they just ended with like, well, that was quite a piece.
I did that.
Yeah, I felt more like, especially the one with Heath Ledger, I felt like awesome.
Yeah.
But I felt more like I just watched The Godfather. Mm-hmm. Whereas you watch that second Captain America movie.
Oh man,
that's like
Winter Soldier was
the shit.
Freaking amazing.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
But that's like watching a great political suspense thriller,
Yeah.
But it
with
was
superheroes.
Yeah.
And like never really gave a crap about Captain America.
Yeah.
Like I understood his importance and
But
why he
he's
was
been a
created
more
and
or less
whatever. But like
B-list.
Chris Evans,
Oh, dude.
is so good.
So good.
And he like. When he says those, and he has stupid lines. Let's be fair. Like Captain America has stupid lines to say, but like I believe him
he's like
when he says it.
1940 guy or whatever.
But like I buy into it. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, Steve Rogers, I am with you. like totally. And I give him a lot of credit because I feel like cast improperly, like that could have gone really poorly.
But that's another thing. All right, so if nobody quite gets where we're going with the ownership thing, I think it was the 90s, like early 90s. Marvel Comics was going bankrupt, and they had to sell off movie rights, so they could still use all their characters in TV and in print and things like this. Cartoons, you can see all of them doing whatever. But they had to, so they sold Spider-Man to Sony. They sold, I think, the Fantastic Four to 20th Century Fox. And then that's also who owns the X-Men,
Yes.
And I know the X-Men movies in some ways were fun to watch for a lot of people, but if you know the stories and everything, like kind of just, compare the X-Men to the Avengers. If anybody doubts, like, no, they were great. Like, no, they could have. No, it could have been like Iron Man.
Because I love the X-Men. Yeah. Like, I love their arc, and like, I have a very a soft spot in my heart for Dark Phoenix. She's my favorite.
You are so cool.
I
that's
love
not
her.
That's not as mainstream, but it's mainstream.
No, but she's so great. And
we're talking to an expert.
This
is a real deal.
She has the most interesting arc and how she went dark and then tried to pull herself back and couldn't get there. And like she's this really complex female character, and they sort of like kind of addressed it like one time, maybe a little bit, and then they're like, well, I don't know, maybe she could go. We're not going to get into that.
Don't even get me started on the solo Wolverine movies. I mean,
there's like 1,000 of them.
They were terrible. I mean, because when I hear about the source material, we're taking it from this Frank Miller, Chris Claremont story, and I've read that
Frank
story.
Miller is great.
The actual book that they were basing his like solo movie on is brilliant. I mean, it's just a great book.
Yeah.
And they just. Worst ending, by the way. The one thing I did enjoy, and my brother Paul, there's somebody at my door. I'm not going to get my door. Or actually, maybe I should. This is interesting. This is a first. We're going to pause for a second. It could be the Marvel police. Uh-oh. Okay, look, I hate to interrupt this podcast, but I have to take a second to talk about our sponsor, schwabmusic.com. So listen, if you are a recording artist and you want to take your music to like the highest level of professionalism, then you need to find schwabmusic.com. Okay, the company is run by Brian Schwab. This guy's like a sound scientist, When it comes to mixing or mastering, a lot of studios hand out a cookie cutter format. It's not cool, but schwabmusic.com will not do that. In fact, they'll like sonically spit shine your piece to specifically fit wherever it's going. Most people don't know that you need a different prepping for iTunes than you do for like vinyl or a CD. If you take your recording to schwabmusic.com, your song, your recording, your baby will be at its best wherever you place it. And now they're based in Chicago, but that doesn't matter. You can get online and sit in on your session either way. It's really cool. They have it set up so that you can talk to the studio and hear any changes made in real time. See, so it doesn't matter where you are. You can be in LA, you can be in New York, you can colonize on the moon, and actually, as long as you have internet service up there, you can get online from your home on the moon and work through your studio sessions. So I'll say it again in closing: get your recording to schwabmusic.com, SCHWAB music.com, because they care and they know what the hell they're doing. All right, so I hope you're liking the podcast so far. Let's get back to it. My daughter's birthday was yesterday, and I ordered a bunch of frozen stuff, and it didn't show up. So apparently it's here now. It was during my... I still thought it was like, this is Marvel! We don't like what you're saying about the Wolverine movies!
You shut up about X-Men.
Step away from the microphones, the both of you! Yeah, so...
Hands up, I'm sorry.
Nobody's ever shown up in the middle of a podcast before.
Well, there you go. It's your first. I feel like
you've been a part of podcast
for history.
It's good. No, but the funniest thing though is this Fantastic Four story that I'll get to in a second. But just so people know, you'll see the Marvel kind of card in front of all the movies because there's a certain amount of ownership. But like Marvel doesn't own Spider-Man, even though he's in Marvel Comics.
Right.
Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yep.
Fantastic Four.
I think that might be it. Like the other ones that they're putting out, They have
It's
the rights
them.
to all the Avengers, and they have.
So Iron Man was not an A-list character. Captain America was not an A-list character, and that's what I love about. Like that's how they've proven themselves because they basically said, no. Now we have enough money to be our own movie company. Let's take who we still own, and let's do it
make them
right.
awesome.
And they care so much about the source material, and you still have to tweak some things for the movies, but they tweak the right things. Nothing that ticks us off.
Here's the only thing. My only complaint is that there's not merchandising support for their female characters.
But you know why? I mean, I think the whole, and I think they're going to start working on this because now there's going to be some solo. There's going to be a new Miss Marvel coming out. There's
Miss Marvel, which is great.
Yeah, I think that's going to change. But I think what happened is the one little business tweak that had to happen for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
The whole reason this is happening with whatever they bought it for like $1 billion or whatever is they had no like zero dude demographic.
Yeah.
Disney has been like rocking it with the princesses and
sure.
So they and I think I think it's going to start leaning that way because the one thing I'll give them credit for, and I don't know where the marketing lies or merchandising, but at least the females that they decide to put in their movies are so strong.
They're so kick-ass.
Black Widow, man.
Oh my God, she had one of the most amazing introductions
in the Avengers, or
like the first time. I mean, we saw her in Iron Man 2
right.
and like whatever, she was okay in that.
But that scene in Avengers.
But when she's tied to the chair and then she kicks everybody's ass, like
that's awesome.
I was like, someone needs to write me a scene like this so I can do it because it's
I can do
so
that.
amazing.
We should.
Then write it.
No, I'm in between, so I can. I'm in post, so we'll do something. You talked about it before.
Yeah, she's
and that
just
all went away. So we're
great. She's such an interesting character, and she's so good. Like in the Avengers, where she's interrogating Loki, like she outsmarts the trickster god.
Yeah,
like that's huge.
Yeah.
Like
she's
it's so big.
Physically like dominates every dude she runs into, and then she's even
it's
cognitive.
because she's
she
smart
even
about it.
There's even a scene where she just outsmarts a guy. So on every level, she
it's not
rocks
about
it. Yeah.
like she is physical.
She can clear a room physically if she has to, but she can also outthink.
But she's more a spy than a soldier, and they make a big deal out of that. Like, and I think that's really like cool. Like, she's used it like I can take you down if I need to, but it's because I know exactly where to hit you because it'll disable pressure points and stuff, as opposed to I'm going to just outclass you physically.
Yeah.
Like I think it's
great.
Smart.
They did it right. They're doing everything right. And the fact that they were able to do that with characters that aren't, Iron Man was not a household name.
Right.
And then they get like Robert Downey Jr., who now
is so great.
Now nobody can see anyone else in that role, but that so many people did not want him in that role.
Well,
they had to fight for it.
So great. And he's the right level of snark.
Yeah.
He's the right level of like, God, I really want to hate you because you're kind of a douche, but I kind of love you instead. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So good.
They do it up right. It's crazy. And the fact that I just want them to own everything now. I want them to get it all back, and they can't because I know there's that deal with Sony now. So Spider-Man will be in the Avengers. I think at least it'll be fun seeing him in the universe, and because they treat their world so well.
Yeah.
When he's in the Avengers movie, it'll be fine. But so now Sony's decided, like, no, we're gonna keep him, but Marvel, you can borrow him. Only you have to help us make our Spider-Man movies better. And you know how they got that? They were able to say, oh, by the way, your last Spider-Man movie, who's like a famous character that everybody knows, made $700 million. Oh, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, which nobody's ever even heard of. Yeah, we made like $780 million. So they were able to prove.
I loved Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nobody even knew. Most people, even true comic book geeks, didn't know much about those guys.
Yeah, they're not your big three. They're not.
You can go out there.
Spider-Man, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, like all of those people. Like those are big ones that everybody has heard of, even if you live under a rock.
That's true.
You've heard of those.
It's people. They just and DC needs to figure it out. Well, we're gonna like round back into geekdom.
Round back.
Yeah, because so now you guys know. Oh, I had to stop the mic, to get whatever the FedEx guy brought the gifts here. But while I went off the mic, I just turned to Sarah and I'm just like, we're hanging out, right? Like we're going to hang out. Like the first 10 minutes of the podcast, now I know that I can.
We're gonna
totally
like geek out and be ridiculous.
We're gonna have like a geek day. We're gonna figure that out then. That's gonna have to happen like once a month, geek day.
I actually just recently released a photo shoot.
Who are you?
I was a pinup version, like a 1940s pinup version of Pixie from the X-Men.
Where can people find these things?
You can find it on my actor page on Facebook. So it is actor Sarah Moore, Facebook actor Sarah Moore. SARAH.
It's with an H.
But she was super fun because she has wings and pink hair, and I got myself like a 1940s like high-waisted bikini, and I put the X-Men symbol on it, and I put it in my hair, and I made myself the wings, and I had like, it was super fun. She wears gauntlets, so I had like gauntlet bracelet sort of thing. Yeah, super fun.
See, and you're like you're somebody who can really round this out for, you can like spread the word in the best way. You're like the best vehicle to spread the word. You're a pretty girl. And you're smart, you have a wit to you, and then you speak that language. So, I mean, you're the kind of person, because I still see a Marvel or DC once in a while just getting, let's get the hot blonde who obviously doesn't know.
She doesn't know what's going on.
But she's a spokesperson, like, we're really excited about this new Marvel superhero. And you could just tell, like, you don't know.
You don't know who that is.
You're reading the script, lady. Reading the script.
You know what? Like, good for them for booking the work. Like, I don't begrudge them that at all. But, like...
But if they get somebody, give them a follow-up question, run into that girl at Comic-Con, and be like, oh my gosh, but I mean...
Like, how do you feel about the fact that they changed this from your original story? Like, I don't know.
What do you mean? Like, oh man, Wolverine's healing factor. Like, would it ever go away? Like, what's a healing factor? Like, she won't know.
Skeleton? I don't know.
Well, we're totally rounding back to geekdom, but I have to like get back into you, man, because again, it comes down to this slow and steady pace. And what I love about what you do, and Jeff, your husband, what you guys both do, there's just this presence. You guys are in there, and it's so perfectly slow and steady, and you just see the climb.
It's just like very slowly gathering things as we go. It's just kind of like pushing the rock up the hill, and it's getting a little bigger every time, so sometimes it takes a little slower.
You have this level of celebrity status online because of the show, and the show's great, guys. Check out Gamer Chick, and here's what kills me about the show. What I really like is I saw season 1, and that season 1 was very much like season 1. Yeah.
We like to call that my pilot season.
Yeah, but that's brilliant, and that's the fact that you can actually say that is awesome, because a lot of people may not say, like, no, the first one, maybe I was guessing a little bit, but then I had it all figured out, and it's all about, I'd rather put things on Front Street than put on like any kind of facade of like, no, we got this. Like, no, you know what, we don't.
It was messy. Doing season 1 was messy. We started filming before we had finished writing the whole thing. Like, it was people gathering, and it took like 6 months to shoot because we were like, oh no, I'm finally done with this episode, let's get together, and then I don't know where this is. And we didn't have as good equipment, and like we went through all this stuff, and we really didn't know what the hell we were doing. Like,
if anybody wants to learn how to work in production, I'm serious. Find Gamer Chick, and is that the best way? If they went to YouTube and put in Gamer Chick series or
Gamer Chick show,
Chick show
is our series. Yeah, if you type in Gamer Chick, very different.
Okay.
It's not safe for work.
Okay, fair enough. Well, what is your channel? What's
our channel? Is Gamer Chick Show, all lowercase.
Okay.
So
if anybody working in production, any novices, anybody like kicking it off. If you really want to learn how it should be done, watch season 1 and then watch season 2. I sent you guys like a lengthy Facebook message about season 2 because it's the perfect example of work. It's the perfect example of just constantly going.
There was a lot of things wrong with season 1 that we went, we're never doing that again.
Yeah.
And then we took season 2 and we upgraded cast. We have the same cast, but they got more comfortable being in front of the camera, and we upgraded crew. We had more crew members to deal with, and we had better equipment, and we had like real lights and like much better sound equipment. And
anybody out there, you would probably tell them what, like, if you have your idea and your gear, and if you have to use your iPhone first or whatever,
Do it.
Do it.
Just get it out there.
But then start learning the craft and keep going because, man, everything. When I look at the second season, first off, production. So much better. Just the clarity, the lighting, everything. You know, you guys are fun with the green screen stuff. It's awesome to
We have a
see.
lot
So
of green screen.
you have to have some sort of effects if you're going to pull this off.
Right.
You know, with the gaming stuff. But then the performances as well. Everybody, you know, nobody sucked in season 1 by no means. But there's a more natural vibe. There's a natural development and delivery, and everyone is comfortable in their character's skin in the second season, including you, because I would imagine, even with your experience, you're wearing a million hats in season 1, so you probably had to acclimate yourself to that. Not so much as your character that you created and your writing, but second season.
There's still other concerns that I was worrying about. Like, maybe during this scene, I'm worried about time because we only have this until it's my job to get us out of here at a certain time, and then
she writes it. She's the star of it. You do write every episode.
I write every episode, and
then you have to stay fit because when you're like normal geek girl for the normal scenes, but then she has to be like mid-drift girl for a gamer chick. She has to, she's got to sell it, man.
I got a lot of abs.
Yeah, there has to be and then you have to deliver the performance.
Yeah, and like season 2 was it was a little intimidating for me because I wrote like real acting moments for myself.
Oh, nice.
Season 1 was really sort of slapsticky and fun, like
keep it cutesy,
because I was like, I don't know if we're gonna get to do anymore, so let's find all these funny things that I think would be funny and let's just shove them all into season 1. And then we finished season 1, and I started getting phone calls from cast that were like, so when are we gonna do more of that? And I was like, oh, well, hold on a minute, let me write it. And so I gave myself a full arc, and we shot it all like over 2 long weekends. Shot all of the real world stuff and then all of the like fantasy world stuff in 2 separate weekends. And I gave myself like heavier stuff to do, and like I had to cry, and like it was such a weird atmosphere on set.
I like when your character kind of just bottomed out the way the choices there. That was really good.
She just like hit, like everything was taken away from her.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to play because, most of the time it's funny and we're slapping people and we're throwing shit and pie in the face kind of humor. And then we had this really super serious scene where she's home and her mother is dying in front of her, and she's losing it because she's terrified that she's not going to be able to, like, she's not ready to let her go. And then she's terrified that she's not going to be able to, like, pick up the mantle and continue on and do all these things that she needs to do. And we were shooting against the green screen, and normally between takes there's like there's people making jokes and saying all this stuff, and we were shooting that scene, and I'm just sobbing all over myself, and there was a cut, and like it was silent. Like you could hear a pin drop. And then Jeff said quietly from the back of the room, okay, we're going to do it one more time. And like, it was this really like soft, like, nobody break the mood. Everybody be quiet. Let's just do it one more time. And, and we went in and did another take of it. And I ended up doing it, maybe 3 or 4 times. And that can be really draining because you're just like crying physically.
It's weird. I did a short called Sandcastles that I wrote and then directed it actually with Janice. And we had a girl who had to cry and fall apart at the end. Before we shot, she was sitting on the beach, and she's just listening to like 9 Inch Nails.
Just like find your trigger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was your...
For me, if you can control your breathing,
mm-hmm.
you can get it there. If I can work myself into what happens to your breath when you're crying, that's sort of like catch breath, like where you can't quite get a full breath because you're so upset. If I can get my body there, I can just sort of get myself in the right
Nice.
mindset, and then.
And it's not necessarily like a scenario or a story you're thinking of. It's more.
No, I find it's much easier to focus on the physical because I also need to be able to remember my lines.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to like be thinking too heavily
Sure.
of a different story that would like, or a feel or whatever that would get me there, because then I need to be able to channel it into what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I had to do a scene for a movie where I had to like freak out. I had to be calm and hopeful and fine, and then sobbing. And I was terrified that I wasn't going to get there because it's such a big switch. It was like a crazy Ivan. It was just like suddenly you're going the other direction. And I think I was so freaked out about it that I was already like on edge.
You were able to use that?
So I went in, I like used that like, oh God, what if I can't get it out? And so we were able to get it.
Oh God, how am I going to do this? I have to cry. How am I going to? Oh wait, oh this is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was hard
that's
because
awesome.
it was like, it was, the character was in the doctor's office and she was asking if she was ever going to be able to have a baby. She wanted to have a baby, and she asked him, and the doctor was like, well, I think, you shouldn't, I would advise not having one. And she's like, okay, that's great, but can I? Like, there's still hope. And she was like, still like ready. And he was like, no, you can't. And she just loses it. And like, I had a really great scene partner who gave me a lot to work off of, which I think helped. But I came out of it just like, because she has to like scream. It was like one of those raw, like you scream it and then you're crying and you're just all this stuff. And like, I came out of the room because it was this little tiny doctor's office room, and I came out and like a bunch of crew members were outside and they were like, there's like giant wide
That's
eyes
awesome.
and like, I don't know how to talk to her now because she just flipped out in the other room.
I just like the fact that you're like you're filled with angst because you can't be
I
filled
was
with
afraid
angst.
I wasn't going to be able to do it.
Why are you crying? With just I
I
picture
don't know, I can't.
tears rolling down. Why are you crying? Because I can't cry.
It's such an intimidating thing, like, because the camera is, like, is sometimes as close as this microphone is to your face,
Yeah,
and like,
man.
and they're like, emote, do it.
Yeah,
like,
it's- have you done much kissing? I had to do. I've done maybe 2 on-screen kisses, and it's just
awkward.
And one was like on a bed, and the director had it timed, so it was like 13 seconds or something.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, am I counting in my head? While I'm it was a pretty girl too, but you can't.
No.
You really can't enjoy it. There's just no. It can't happen. It can't happen because
I did one, the most awkward one I've ever done. We were in a stairwell that was approximately 100 degrees. Like, it was so hot. And we had been in there probably for about like 8 hours. It was like a full day sort of thing. And we were covered in fake blood because like he had gotten shot in the scene. And so there was blood everywhere, and it was like drying. So it was like sticky. And then to get us both in frame, I had to be like crouched, and then,
so you weren't even in a comfortable position,
right? And like my feet went to sleep, and so like I couldn't stand up afterward, and like we had to do it and like get close, and the camera's right next to your face.
That's no good.
And you have
grab
to
my coffee while you chat.
Yeah, and you have to make it look like you want to be there.
I'm so impressed by anybody that really makes it look good when you have the love scenes or the kissing
And
scenes.
his pregnant wife was the actor's pregnant wife was the stills photographer.
Oh, perfect. That's it. See, that's all weird.
And she was like 8 months pregnant. She was like super pregnant, and she was in that stage of pregnancy where like.
And then here you are, just fit on top of her husband, just like, oh my gosh, no.
Like, hey. And like I'm friends with her, and she's great, and
but
we're
it's
fine,
not. It's a
but
weird.
It's such a strange.
It's even worse if you are friends with the person, then your job is to like just be sensual or whatever it is.
Right. Well, and also a lot of times I have to kiss people, and my husband is directing, so he's like behind the camera and like go ahead, kiss my wife.
I'm telling you,
super
I
weird.
don't know if we're making a follow up. We had a lot of production woes in the film that we've been working on. There's so many things we're like, just tricky behind the scenes stuff that happened. Now that Paul and I are like steam heading this thing, like, okay, wait, we found a path. We found a good path. Yeah, it's been great. But my wife Janice is in it, and it's hard to. She's probably going to have to kiss Dan Mall in the next movie, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's super weird. Even if you're like comfortable.
By the way, the one time her parents came to set happened to be a time that she's just she's not really slutting the scene up, but there's quite an extended bending over. There's an ass shot for sure. The movie ends with an ass shot. It's somewhere in there. And
here you go.
Yeah, and
Mom.
and you could just tell the camera guys we have a helicopter in the movie.
Yeah, I heard. That's awesome.
Yeah, but the camera guys were way more excited about her filming her butt.
Sure.
Than they were about she's got a nice butt. They were more excited about that than about the helicopter. But that was the time that her parents visited set because she doesn't really have much in the movie.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is neat. Well, look at the cameras. Like, what are you doing?
Don't worry about it. They're just gonna take an ass shot.
By the way, this was not a kissing scene, but the same it was one of the old films that I did that I had to kiss the girl. The same movie. My character and her character are like on the run, and we're in a hotel. Mm-hmm. And this is purely indie. We're kids.
Yep.
What do? We just rented a hotel room. We weren't asking for permission.
Right.
Whatever it takes to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like off to the side, whatever, looking at the script. She's just lounging. The girl's just laying on the bed. And she's just laying on the bed, and like a cleaning lady walks in, stops, just sees this girl laying on the bed. Mm-hmm. Like the sweetest gentleman in the world, our director for that film is just sitting behind a camera, and he just looks. It's like the best scene ever.
Like, whoa.
I loved that.
Hey,
she's like,
guys.
she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. And she backs away like, they're making a porno in 208. So when
that room's gonna need extra cleaning.
We're gonna need Lysol like a mofo.
Ew, burn the sheets.
So was your training in theater?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to school, and I have a bachelor's of fine arts in theater with an acting emphasis, but I also took sort of like a movement specialization.
Okay.
Which has been super helpful for me because I tend to get cast as not people. So I've played clones and fairies and
Explain
elves
the movement class. That sounds pretty cool.
It's really just figuring out how to isolate every part of your body.
Yeah.
I took like 4 years of movement, and that included like Tai Chi, but also like figuring out where your muscles are and how they connect and how you can move them so that you can get the desired effect, sort of ground up. My character a long time ago was in a car accident, so I'm going to give her a limp or something like that, and then finding those physical characteristics so you can help build the character.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's helpful for me. I use it a lot on Gamer Chick because the two characters that I play, the one in the real world is really closed off and shy and really unsure of herself, and so I use a lot more like motions or stances where I kind of physically close myself off from people. And then in the fantasy world, she's like super confident, and so
there's a difference.
Squared my shoulders, and you hold your body differently and you walk differently, and that has helped me really flip between the characters really easily because my body feels different, and so I can go, okay, now I'm Nin. I'm a different person, and this is how she talks, and this is how she walks.
Yeah, I'm telling you, aside from the midriff and the obvious costume change,
right,
there is a complete difference in physicality when I see you, in the real world, and then when all of a sudden the gamer chick shows up.
And we've tried to like...
I always forget her character, like the actual name of
Gia is the little...
No, the when you're superhero
Nin.
game.
Her name is Nin. Okay. Yeah, she's great. I love playing her. She's like putting on my favorite coat.
Yeah.
Like, I love getting to do that. It's so much fun. And we didn't film anything this past summer, and I'm like jonesing for it.
Oh my God.
I haven't, because we've filmed every summer for like 5 years. And this past summer, we didn't film anything.
So here's the thing, and here's what I love about you is the fact that, you have 2 kids.
I do.
How old are they?
They are 7 and 9.
So 7 and 9.
Yeah, Jensen, my son is 7, and he's in 2nd grade. And then Indigo is my daughter, and she's 9, and she's in 3rd grade.
And everything that you've done, everything that you've accomplished in, in the sort of fantastical world of film
Yeah.
and webisodes, and so, I mean, everything you've done has been you. Like, you've made every step. I know you and Jeff are a team, but it's just amazing to see that there's not, Hollywood's not right here, right now, or there's not like, hey, okay, here's your advance, or we're signing, and the fact that you've just made it and you continue to make it. And not only do you continue to make it, folks, listen to this, okay? She's constantly moving forward and improving along the way, Yeah. I don't know if there's this level of just non-satisfaction or just the joy of learning or whatever it is, but I notice a change from A to B, not only in the material, not only in the webisode, but in everything you do. I've noticed that, okay, well, wait, she's working really hard to get to this Gen Con. You're getting to a conference, and then you're meeting people, and suddenly you're getting more press from somebody you've met, and you're being able, you guys are daisy chaining each other, and then all of a sudden, I hear you get a random role in an indie film. So it's like you're just like plugging away.
Well, it's 90%
so
of the
impressive.
gig is networking.
Yeah.
You can be the most amazing performer in the world, and if you don't know how to talk to people, no one's gonna let you perform. You need to be able to be out there. And I have met, the indie web series community is like a little family.
Is it? See, I don't know much about that. I have a YouTube channel that's random.
Yeah.
Like, here's what I did today.
But like the creators are like, they just want everybody to succeed. Like, they just want
that's awesome.
I'm making this thing and you're making this thing, and let's talk about it, and let's be friends, and let's make this stuff out there. And like, I've actually gotten from doing Gamer Chick, I met my friends Chris and Ann Lukeman, whose company is called Kill Vampire Lincoln. Yeah, super fun. And they make a web series called Once Upon a Time in the 1970s, which is about time-traveling robots, which is amazing.
It can't beat that.
I mean, who doesn't love that?
Who doesn't?
And they had put out season 1, and we were chatting, and we shared a booth at C2E2, and we were talking, and they were
C2E2?
Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo.
Nice.
Which is in April. So there's one coming up. But we shared a booth there, and we were hanging out, and they were like, oh, we're getting ready to shoot season 2. And I was like, oh, I loved season 1. And they were like, do you want to be in season 2? And I was like, yes,
wow.
I want to be in season 2. And so I've already shot a little bit for it, but I'm going to shoot some more. And they were like, I got this email from them, and they were like, I don't know how you feel about this, but we'd like you to be a cyborg. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, we'd like you to be like an evil cyborg. And I was like, more, yes, that's good. And so one of the most fun things about it is that I have a robot hand. And so it
are there any photos of this yet?
I believe there are.
Yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think there are. I'll find them, and I'll send you a link to them. But when it's just regular, I have like a long fancy glove on it, kind of a thing. But we replace it with things like like a big leaf trimmer.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she's. What
is this web series called?
It's called Once Upon a Time in the 1970s.
Okay.
And it's super fun.
So let me ask you this then. Were you aware of that kind of web series community before you went in or after how did you even decide?
Started up at the very beginning of it. I think the only thing that was out...
you mean when the whole group in itself became this kind of unit?
Yeah. So
okay.
When we started filming Gamer Chick season 1, and it took us forever to get it out, but when we started filming it, I think the only web series that was out was The Guild that Felicia Day had been putting out.
Oh.
And so part of me went this is a really fun, super awesome, geeky, great web series. And then I was like, I could do that. I could do that. And I think part of the charm of season 1 of Gamer Chick is that we truly were just a group of friends just figuring it out. And I think that comes through
people need to watch just because of that. You know, that's
yeah,
it's just
it's
great.
really sweet. And like, yeah, we could have done things a lot better, for sure. There could have been different choices made, and we could have made things better. But I'm really proud of the fact that we finished it and we got it out there. And I was on a panel at Gen Con, and it was for like writing a series or something. And I was sitting next to this guy who was the really nice person, but he was talking about how he had just made a film for Sundance, and like he had, you know, like $1 million budget, and I was like, what the hell am I doing on this like, we made season 1 for like $8 and like 2 sticks of gum, and that's all we had for the entire thing. And I was talking to the guy who runs the film festival at Gen Con, who has since become a good friend of mine. His name is Chuck Boudreau. And I said, what the hell was I doing up there? I shouldn't have been there. Like, I didn't know what I'm doing. And he said something that has always stuck with me. And it was, of all the people that you were talking to, everybody in that room had an idea for a film. Maybe 10 of those people will write it. Maybe 1 of those 10 will make it.
Yeah.
He's like, you're already ahead of where they're at, and like, you're still going and you're still doing it, and so you should still do it. Just keep and be proud of that. And I thought, like, oh yeah, like I did a thing. I made a series. Like, holy shit, I did that.
Yes.
And then we got season 2, and it took us a long time to get it out, but it's out there, and we've actually already shot season 3 and 4, and they're in post-production. And it's super weird to go to a convention and have somebody recognize me from the show that I don't know. Like, to have a stranger be like, I watch your show. I had this woman come up to me and she said, I just want to let you know that I watch your show with my 12-year-old daughter, and we watch it together. And I was like, oh my God, like, it was so exciting. I was like, you made my whole day. And she was like, will you sign this for my daughter? And I was like, shut up. Yes. Like,
wow.
Let's do that. And so it's such a cool thing, like, because for me, it's just this show that I just love. It's like my other baby. It's like my 3rd child, and I love it. And so then to have other people sort of share that enthusiasm with me that don't have to, you know, like, it would super hurt my feelings, like, if my mom didn't like the show. But my mom would like a show if I just sat and drooled for an hour in front of the camera. Like, she'd be like, you were so good, honey. Right. Like, because she's super supportive, because she has to be, because she's my mom. But like, to have people who are just like, I found this through whatever, and I think it's great, and I'm excited to see what's next.
Did you have writing experience before the show? Was that your first time delving into truly being a script writer?
So my husband and I we had a show called Pyroflower Radio Hour.
Okay.
Which was a like live, we performed it live, so we had like a Foley artist.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
And we would meet once a month and do like the next installments. And so it was set in like sort of a post-apocalyptic future where it's very convoluted. Where
I love you. Are such an awesome geek. This is so cool. Everything that you like, it seems like you want to do any, you want to meet any challenge that's thrown your way. And I can tell that there's a longing for diversity in you, but I love the fact that like your happy place is always like, and I'm a cyborg.
Yeah. And I get to play a clone and a robot. Yeah. So it was like we set it in this future where like towns had sort of grown up and melded together.
Was this on like a regular radio station, or was it a podcast?
No, we would perform it live, and then we would. We would record it while we were performing it live, and then release it. Like,
so wait a minute. Web. Now your husband's kind of like the tech guy behind most things, right?
Yeah.
But what I was introduced to him because he was a theater rat, just like my brother Paul.
Yeah.
And they grew up together.
And music too.
Oh, okay, I didn't even know Jeff did music.
Yeah, he was in a band for like ever.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So this end of it, because he's, I would imagine, I would imagine you're involved with the behind the scenes production, but he's the guy kind of facilitating it from the tech level.
I'm bad at tech.
Well, has he did he study that, or has he just been on his own, just chipping away, learning? Because there is a difference. He did. There was a fight scene for Victims of Circumstance. Then he came in with the little camera, and it's just seeing. He had a good eye. Paul recognized that right away. Paul's like, man, I love like how he shoots.
He frames things really, really
but
well.
I mean, but now seeing the difference in, again, season 1 to season 2, there's a difference in lighting. And that does come with better gear.
Well,
but
part
not
of it is
only
better gear,
You
and
have
part
to
of
be able to
it
use that gear.
is just kind of figuring out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Trial and error. But he went to school. He went to college several times.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So he went first for cinematography.
Oh, great.
And didn't finish, but did take some courses and,
Sure.
did some of that. And then he went for computers, like totally changed it and was like, well, maybe I'm doing this. And then he went back for visual effects, like sort of combining cinematography and computers.
Well, then the computers class definitely helps, especially in today's world.
And then, but he also is just sort of naturally, he has a good eye for things. And so he's sort of cultivated that. He's done a lot of still photography. Like he's the photographer when I do my photo shoots and stuff.
But then as far as like just the better production value overall, again, it has to be technology meets work and learning. He
sort of is always
Is he just
seeking
constantly
things out?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like he actually he did a webinar yesterday. He like sat in on a webinar and he just finds out like,
just soaking it
this
in,
is
huh?
gonna work and I'm gonna use this and and he does little shorts. Like we'll shoot a short because he says like, oh, I want to work on this, so we're gonna shoot like this 5-minute short and then I'm going to
just to
figure
hone
out
like a different part of the craft.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we just did a short which was really fun called Gunpowder Black.
Uh-huh.
And the whole idea of it in this sort of fantastical world is that if you drink this tea called Gunpowder Black, and you make finger guns, you can actually shoot out of your finger guns. Which was
So it's a love story.
It is ridiculously fun. So there's just two of us, two actors. It was me and my friend Ed Bernowski, who's also in the show.
My God, I am such a fan of Ed.
He's so great.
He's people hear me talk about the movie I worked on with my brother, and again, now that we've kind of crawled through some of the production issues, it's on a better fast track now, which is great. And he has a small part in the movie, but his small part, he steals
He's
the
so
movie.
great.
He's so good.
I love that he is so willing to just he just commits. He goes balls to the wall in everything that he does. And that's what makes it so great to work with him, is because like he is not afraid of looking like an idiot.
And he does it well. I mean,
since you're not afraid of doing it, you don't ever look like a fool, because you just get out there and just, he's committed to it. And so we chased for a whole day. He and I chased each other around and shot finger guns at each other.
He's one of my favorite new kind of finds.
He's so fun.
Yeah.
And it's such a good guy just in general, and great to have on set, because he's got a very positive energy and he brings all of that, You
need that too.
Yeah.
But again, back to Jeff, it kind of blows me away. I've seen it in film, and I've also seen it even just in the singing world, in the music world, where you can get pretty good at something and then you kind of live there. And so that's where you separate the men from the boys, when you kind of I shouldn't, or the girls from the women.
It's all right.
When it's kind of like, okay, well, wait a minute, I can do it well.
Right. What else can I do?
How can I do it better?
Yeah.
How can I do it with a wider range? And you can never learn enough.
Well, and post-production especially, is always changing, because they're always coming out with new stuff. And so he's always...
It's so funny because when I studied film, but before studying film, I used to make just stupid short videos with my friends.
Yeah.
Maybe we made 50, maybe 70.
But that's where it starts.
And by the time I studied, had a more formal training, one thing that like story flow and filming and editing was like a breeze, because I'd done it a million times. I knew what this shot was going to look like. Why? Because I did that shot 20 times badly.
Yeah.
Until I figured out on the 21st
that's
time.
That's not going to work.
Until I figured out, like,
Do it
oh, that's how,
again.
And it's, so to see him like chipping away like that, and it's especially when you have, multi-talented people, if he's good in music, if he's good,
Yeah, he's kind of good at everything. It makes me kind of sick a little bit.
Yeah, well, look at you, man. I mean, and so what would you tell somebody who, because I think you guys found a great side street, somebody who somebody who wants to work in film production, or somebody who wants to make something, and okay, they don't have maybe all the gear they want, or maybe they don't have the means to show their film anywhere right now. YouTube is right there.
It's right there. Anyone can upload anything. It is free to upload something onto YouTube.
And then you don't know what's going to hit, you know?
Yeah, I think it's finding your niche, and your niche is what you love. Like, don't make something that you think everybody else is going to like.
So true.
You have to make what you are passionate about, and then that's how you will attract like-minded folk. Like, I think that Gamer Chick has gotten as far as it has because I'm sort of like fanatically passionate about it.
Yeah.
Like, and I get so excited when I'm explaining it to people that I find myself like standing up and like hovering over them when I'm talking. And like, I don't even realize that I'm doing it until I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to give you some space. I'm going to back up. But like, I think people respond to that joy and that passion that you have for that project. If you hate the project, you can't get people on your side.
Yeah, or even if it's just the wrong reasons. I think some people try to create something that's not necessarily from within, but it's, what's trendy right now?
Right.
What's laying in,
because I think you can feel the difference between like, I make this thing about gaming because I am a gamer and I feel it in my soul and I love it and this is my experience, versus like, oh well, gaming, a lot of people are liking gaming.
It's
so
funny. Well, you're
in make that.
You're in the Victims of Circumstance movie, which to me, which I think Paul would, my brother Paul directed and wrote, and I think he would gladly consider that his first season of Gamer Chick, where he was learning so many things,
figuring stuff out.
Yeah, but it's funny because I talked to him about the movie we're making, which is really a fun popcorn piece. When you see it, it's funny because it's not like it has to be it can't be this great piece because it was supposed to be a 15-minute short, right? But we were talking about that before Victims of Circumstance, and at one point Paul took the reins and wrote a draft of the movie, and the character that I created and the stories I wrote were just so, it's just more popcorny. It's just fun, you know.
And
if you want to see me do
sometimes.
something weird and dark and twisty, check out Sandcastles. Then that's my little journey into that. You know, I don't know if you ever saw that, but check it.
I did see it,
it's got the little,
Yeah.
it's not happy, But it was funny because Paul did a draft of the current movie that we're working on. It was just really dark. It got really dark, and it was great. It was really.
Sure.
I mean, he's one thing that I'll give him credit for is that, man, he'll there was a run where like every month, I don't know how he did it, because again, the whole father thing, kids. Oh, here's 10 issues of a graphic novel that I wrote, or okay, here's a novel. Oh, okay, now the novel was last week. Here's a book of poetry.
Another one.
Like, how are you doing this? Like, I pride myself in as a writer, but not to that extent. Like he's a machine.
Yeah.
But for that point in life, the movie we were going to make together, it was so dark and just so messed up. And at some point, he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I think this is me, not you. He's like, I think I have this.
Let's make something fluffier.
Yeah, I think he realized, like, I think this is something I have to get out of my system, and I've put you in it, but you are no longer. And then he made Victims, and that's what it was, because Victims was pretty dark.
It was very dark.
Yeah, and you guys were all great in it too. It was fun to watch. It's just like, oh my gosh,
It was not like, I wouldn't call that a fun set to be on.
It's hard
because it's really heavy. You know?
Yeah, that's what's tricky.
There was no like dance offs.
How do you laugh between those scenes?
It's rough sometimes.
So I think he was even relieved to jump into. Well, now talk about not still learning the craft and all that stuff, and then suddenly directing something he didn't write, which then I've never acted in something I didn't direct. So that was a heck of a learning. We had all these like growing pains to figure out, but it ended up being the most interesting thing that I couldn't have planned on. I mean, actually, he could really work the actors. He worked with the actors very well. It was finding tones and stuff. But my favorite part of it was I've never had anybody direct stuff that I wrote. But to have him be a writer was really something, because there are one or two scenes that it's there, and there's the page, and this is happening, and I'm on the phone. Mm-hmm. But a million things go on, and he like wrote a whole separate script, basically, not with the words, but he wrote like
of what's going
so
on
much is
around
happening
you.
around me, and it's just, it was different. It was unique having a writer's eyes on it.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Right.
And he gave this amazing actor, Matt Hummel, so much to do in this one scene while I'm just on the phone, and it's beautiful. And the fact that we had this super talented dude, from Chicago Street Theater, but
That always helps.
Yeah, it's just, but again, it's like stretching. It's everybody's stretching. All of a sudden he finds himself, directing, but he didn't write it, and that's tricky when you've never done it before.
Yeah.
I've yet to do that. I've yet to, I don't know if you guys have jumped into that world where it's somebody else's piece, but it's another learning.
Jeff doesn't write any of Gamer Chick, and so he directs it. He's the director.
Oh, that's
for all
good
of
though,
it.
and that's right now a place where
that's what he's doing. Although he's in the process of writing his first feature, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, that is awesome.
And it's called Flint Steel and the Scourge of the Skies.
Who are you in this? I just want to know who you are and what you're doing.
So I am Margot Malone.
Great name.
Yeah, it's set like late 30s, early 40s, and she is a lounge singer with a questionable past.
Do you sing?
I do.
Man, I don't know you at all.
I know, it's like
Right.
a brand new person. I'm super excited about it. He's got a draft of the script, and we just did a table read recently, and so it's going to go through some rewrites, and then we're going to start.
And then he also does work for is it for the museum, or what is,
He used to be at the museum.
Oh, okay. I
He is
wasn't sure.
he is no longer with the museum, and he's trying to do like the sort of independent contractor film
good
thing.
Okay, that's good to know.
Which is a little scary.
Where can people find him?
That is an excellent question. I know that I think he is in the process, maybe right now, actually, since I'm out of the house and it is quiet, of like updating his
creating a web.
page.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
In the meantime, is
check
there an email? Should they reach out to you? Do you have a website?
Yeah,
Where
what? You can find us. Our company name is Romeo's Faux Studios.
Okay.
So we have romeosfauxstudios.net. Or
they can contact you through there?
You can contact us through there.
He has a great eye, folks. And obviously, if you're getting anything from like our chat, these people work, and they work on making things better.
Fingers crossed. Better.
And I like that. I like that. So definitely, gotta give him a plug.
Or you can get in touch with us through any of our Gamer Chick stuff.
Okay.
He and I are the only people who do it.
So there's like a website for that, or where would they go to reach out? Just the YouTube channel?
There's YouTube, or there's we're on Twitter as Gamer Chick Show. We're on Facebook as Gamer Chick Show.
So lesson learned for anybody is like, just do it.
Just do it.
Just get out there and do it.
Well, and like one of the things that it led to, which was really exciting for me, is a project that I have coming up on the horizon called Chaldea, which
how do you spell that?
CHALDEA.
All right, I wouldn't have seen
World
the
of
H
Chaldea.
coming. All right.
It is so. I don't know how familiar you are with like Wizards of the Coast.
So I'm not a gamer. I'm a comic book guy.
Okay, so Wizards of the Coast is the people who have Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
And the co-founders of Wizards of the Coast, I don't remember Steve's last name, Steve Conard and Peter Adkison.
Okay.
They played in a D&D campaign for like a gajillion years. And they love it so much that they have decided to turn it into a multiple season fantasy drama.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it has like interweaving storylines, sort of like if you think about like Game of Thrones style, where things are happening all over the world, but they're all kind of going toward the same place. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with Game of Thrones.
I've been dying to. It's one of those shows that it's like on my docket that I want to see. It sounds like it's like right up my alley.
Yeah, you would love it.
Yeah.
But
so
I met Peter because he currently is one of the owners of Gen Con.
And Gen Con, that goes on in Indy?
Indianapolis.
Okay.
And it's the biggest gaming convention in the universe.
Awesome.
And I entered a contest to game with the guy who owns Gen Con, and got picked. Like, name got pulled out of a hat, and
That's
I
awesome.
went up there and we played Fiasco, which is this wonderful game, RPG. And Peter kept giving everyone in the group mimosas. And I am very small.
Yes.
And I was keeping up with all of the folk in the group because it was me and like 3 big dudes. And I was a little tipsy.
What is Tipsy Sarah like?
She's very
Giggly or sleepy or?
She's very confident,
Oh,
apparently.
okay.
Because at the end of it, we were talking and he was like, I'm getting into film. And I was like, I have a show. I'm an actor. You should cast me in your next project. And he was like, okay, well, give me your card. And I did. And it turns out that he is friends with an actor friend of mine, Jen Page, who is kind of a name in the geek actor community.
Okay.
She's delightful. And he was like, so how do you feel about her? And she was like, you should audition her. She's great. And I was like, ooh, thanks, Jen. And so we ended up sort of talking through this new project, and he cast me in it. And it's really fun because I get to play this character named Poppy, who is a noble, but she kind of bucks the system in that she wants to prove that she's just as good as any boy, like prove to daddy that like I'm as useful as men are here. And so she like moves to the big city and becomes like an investigative reporter.
Oh, wow.
And so she writes for the Chronicle of that world.
Have you started filming this yet?
We have not, but I
Okay.
go out in June for a photo shoot.
You start your web series.
Right?
You put it out there.
Yep.
When you put it out, do you put out just an episode? I can't remember because I did the binge watching
Because you binge
thing.
watched it. Yeah. No, we put out one at a time. We tried to have it like a regular schedule, but because we're doing it all alone,
production and everything. Sure.
there's only so much that we can do keeping a regular schedule,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So it took us longer than we wanted, but we put out one at a time, and then we promoted on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on, G+, wherever
Sure.
we're at, just put it all out there.
Like, how did you first get it noticed by that particular community? Did you guys seek them, or was
So
it kind of
we
or
found-
the convention?
Yeah, it sort of was Gen Con. We had the first episode out, and somebody in our group was like, hey, this year they're having a film festival at Gen Con. You should enter it. And
Were you aware of Gen Con before this?
yes,
But just
I
as a
had
gamer-
I had never been.
Sure.
Yeah, but not in like film capacity, just as that's a place with like Geek Mecca where you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
and buy dice and
So
fun
you had
things.
the piece done.
We had the first episode done, and somebody was in our group was like, hey, they're doing a film festival this year. You should enter. And we found out about it like the day before the deadline. And I was like, oh, no, that's too bad. But I ended up emailing the guy in charge, and he was like, no, this is perfect. This is the kind of thing that we want here, is this sort of like really gamer-centric filmmaking. And so we were able to sort of squeak in under the wire. And then since then, we went that first year and met a ton of people in that community.
You networked like crazy.
Like
you used
crazy.
it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
not everybody. And let me ask you about this, because I see different forms of. I've met back when I worked in film production, before I had my own little production company. I worked specifically through DePaul University, so I met so many soon-to-be indie film guys, right? And I met two types. I met some guys who just kind of went for it, like, hey, what else can I do? Or, hey, what are you doing? And let me tell you about what I'm doing. This is what I'd like to do. And show me, And then I met the other guys who kind of just, pull out the cigarette, and you're like, well, me. And
I make art.
I'm an artist. You don't understand, because this is my head that we're talking about. And I'm like, well, dude, you still don't know how to frame a shot yet.
No, but,
be careful. So
Do it.
are you seeing people out there that are I mean, that's obviously what you did.
I think you're going to find...
But the people that you're meeting, too...
You're going to find a couple of those, like, no, but what I make is really important, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to find that in every kind of community. But for the most part, like, some of my closest friends now are creators from different parts of the country. Like...
And you guys just see eye to eye. So when you're in there... You're working it. Like, you get to Gen Con, you walk into the big room. How did you network? What was your move? Or let me ask you this first. What were you armed with when you got there? Anything?
I had business cards.
Okay, perfect.
And I had a t-shirt.
Was there a working website at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
So I had, we had made sure that our website was up with the episode.
Perfect.
And then
give them the website one more time. You're gonna shout. Or right now, is it just go to YouTube now?
Yeah, just go to YouTube.
That was more for the Gen Con to be ready.
Right.
Nice. You had the proper weapon for the proper battle.
Yeah, and we had a t-shirt made by a local t-shirt shop.
Okay.
Because we had like $8.
Yeah.
Like this all went in together. So
that's what you were armed with. Did you have physical?
I was wearing a t-shirt.
Any hard copies?
I had business cards. With a link to the website and my information. I did not have any physical copies.
Which you wouldn't need.
Because we couldn't afford to make them.
And of course, they got to go to the website.
Right, and go to the website. It's all on the web. You can go there. It was that sort of thing. And I went around and I talked to every damn person and was just like, this is what I'm making. I'm in a show. I'm making a show. I'm interested in getting more people involved and small artists and how about in season 2 we have that would be a perfect purse for her. Can we work out a deal where maybe we get a discount and then we can pimp your website and do all that stuff? And everybody was really like, yeah, man, let's do this. This is exciting. Good community. Really everybody's really welcoming, which is really cool because I've found in some like theater communities it can get a little cliquish where you like go in and they're like, but you haven't been working with us forever, so I don't want to talk to you. But this is, and I don't know if part of it was just because we were sort of all collectively floundering in the waters of just like nobody knows quite what they're doing yet. And
there's something different about whether it's any kind of artist as opposed to like a geek. There's quick gratification for certain artists. You can be in that small theater club or this circle of bands or whatever where there's something about. Now, it is becoming trendy now, thanks to all the superhero movies we spent like our first half hour talking about. But there's still a mentality where, I remember the days. At first I was an English major. Mm-hmm. Then I got this job on the Loop, which happened before I should have been there. Sure. So then I switched to like radio, TV, and then I started studying film, so Jeff and I have a lot in common.
Yeah, it's just finding it, it's a long and winding road.
But all through that, talk about being on radio and that's cool, and then all of a sudden even in college hey, I work for this station, then everyone kind of gathers in the corner. I'm like, all right, that's weird.
Yeah.
But you're talk about I read comic books, or for anybody that like just plays games, well, that wasn't exactly the cool thing to do for anybody
for a really
if you
long
weren't
time.
A teenager.
Yeah.
But it's so funny that anyway, thinking of that culture and how you're like, I like comics, I think there's a certain level to the geek world where you're so happy to find anyone who likes
who also
that.
likes the thing you're like.
Even though it's becoming popular.
Instant friends.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And I think that's just something that's not going to go away for a long time.
You find like people who are into the fandom that you're into, and it's like
instant bonding.
It's like you just get excited, like, well, did you see the most recent episode of Doctor Who? Yes, oh my God. And then they talk about it,
There's no cool reason to be into it. You know what I mean? So you can be a guy who just talks about like, I love all the later stuff that Sting did after the police. And there, like even in music and in other, even film, I guess, there can be things where there's still that like an almost cliquish, or there's an avenue where somebody could take to even lie to themselves and other people, like, no, I'm really into that. Jacques Fondou's films, I love them all. You've never heard of them? Oh, they're wonderful. And it's like, okay, you don't really, hipster. I'm so over it, but I love it. But then I'm over it. It's like, well, you're not really like the reasoning isn't coming from within. Where if you're a geek in any way, shape, or form, you're a geek because you love it. And when you meet another one, nobody is like, oh, I just love the old Iron Man comic books. Yeah, there's nothing about you that becomes more artsy.
No.
you don't get any clout in social circles.
For being like,
yeah, when you're like, I
super
love these guys and girls who wear tights and there's colorful pictures of them jumping. Like, so then when you meet somebody, it's like, oh my God, it's an instant social hug. It's right there, you know. I mean, you and I are totally hanging out.
Yes.
Simply because we can talk about this stuff. And I'm like, she's one of them, you know.
One of those
We
people.
became fast friends, and I've known you for years. And if I ever saw you anywhere, it'd be very easy to just sit down. You're Sarah Moore. You're the Sarah Moore that I've known forever. Like,
sure.
oh, let's hang out. Let's do that. That'll be fun. But now it's like, oh no, we're hanging out.
We're gonna do something.
Yeah, now it's just changed. Like, we're gonna write a film together. We're gonna hang out.
There's gonna be superheroes. Somebody's gonna be wielding magic. Someone is throwing a magic missile. I'm just saying.
Maybe a cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a different culture, and I guess because of that, that makes so much sense. I mean, I'll tell you, artists out there, anybody listening, it's funny, but if you just delve into that world or get to know somebody from that world, I will say it's still untainted in so many ways because the love is so genuine.
I think also it's like, you know how you see like your kid, right? You see your child who's like 5 and they just get so freaking jazzed about like something new that they saw and they get so excited about it and like, oh my God, I love this thing so much. Like it's that, but as adults. And I think that's so great. Like that, like childlike innocence just for the joy of the thing that you love. Like, and I think that's really
the funny thing is
fabulous.
I think it was Michael J. Straczynski who wrote the movie Changeling, and he's written a couple of other films. But he started out, I mean, he was writing this great run of Spider-Man comic books. You know, really great run. One of the best things I've read in years. And he has like a quote where he just says, as kids we just care about jumping and playing and just losing our mind into fantasy. And then at some point we grow up and we're told not to do those things. And we
can't do it.
And the funny thing is, it doesn't have to be just comics, there shouldn't be a reason for art to just be a social status point. It's too bad that everyone loses that, and it's more like, I don't want to be shunned. I don't want to be looked at the wrong way because I don't know, I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't know who Cole Porter is. Like, well, okay, if you don't, that's fine. That's fine. What jazzes you up?
Right. Well, and I think it's also like being inclusive about it in that like, this thing that I love. Oh, you don't know about it? Oh my God, let me tell you about it. Like
sharing instead of disappointment.
Because I love it so much and you're going to love it by the time I'm done, I swear.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, as opposed to like, well, I know about it, so I'm better than you.
I don't know where that comes from, but but again, I guess.
I feel like it's an insecurity thing because like for me, it took me a while to get there, but like I know who I am and I'm really comfortable with who I am. And like there are things that I unapologetically love. Like I am the biggest frickin' Star Wars fan in the entire world. I love it so hard that it is like unhealthy.
So were you put off by the newer movies?
No, you know why? Because Star Wars. Like, I don't...
Oh, you're like, all in.
Like, were there parts about it that I did not like? Sure.
Okay.
But, like, I got to see, like, a real lightsaber fight, not, like, a couple old guys swinging swords at each other. Like, I got to see, like, flipping, like just big lightsaber fights.
Love Sarah Moore's
I love
world.
it. It's so exciting to see that. And I've read all the Star Wars novels, like all of the offshoot, like expanded universe stuff, and I love it. And
was that really cool? And I don't want to go off in too much of a tangent on, but does it get like if you get the books, does it really take like where Luke Skywalker's gone and Han Solo? Okay, I'd be interested. I'm gonna hit you up on like what's good to read.
And they're so good, and like I just love them because it's more of that world, and I buy into that world, and I love it. And like I own far too many Star Wars shirts. Like I'm surprised I'm not wearing one today. Actually, like I have so many.
What inspired this? This is like a martial arts.
So this is Legend of Korra.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you know. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I'm gonna have to like take a picture of your shirt.
Yeah.
So then I can
It's so
post
good.
it on the Chatteroffact,
It's so
and people
good.
go, oh, that's what she's talking about.
So,
I'm taking a picture of her shirt on the podcast right now. You guys will see it.
it's amazing.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
All right.
So Avatar: The Last Airbender it was an anime series on Nickelodeon in the 90s. Nice. And it was brilliant. 3 seasons of this big, sweeping, epic fantasy in that they can like control different elements. There are people who control different elements, and amazing series. And it ended, and I was like, oh, it's sad because it's over. And then they did a new series called The Legend of Korra, and she's like one of the next avatars. And so it sort of picks up in that same world, but it doesn't have that same.
You're so deep
Oh,
in,
God, I
and like you
love
could just there's so many things that
love
you could
it.
just like go.
I
And,
could, yeah, we'll never be done because everything will connect to everything.
well, again, so it's I think the fact that you're a trained actress and then you have a work ethic, you know, and I like the fact that your work ethic kind of matches you keep it in line with your passion, because why
Right.
do something, you know, if you don't have to, you know, if there's not, you know, unless Steven Spielberg calls, it's like,
Sure.
oh, well, I'll try that.
And call me,
yeah,
Steve.
call it Spielberg.
I think you should call me.
Find
I'm just
her.
saying, I'm
Yeah.
around.
She's really nice.
I think,
but it's almost like until that, like, why not stretch yourselves yourself in the way that you want
I
to?
tend to get-
and keeping your passion.
I go
alive.
after roles that are interesting to me, and they just
Yeah.
happen to be mostly in like sci-fi or fantasy or something
folks
like that.
us in this middle ground. You know,
You can sort of
you have actually more freedom.
pick and choose.
Yeah, you have a lot more freedom.
I actually was cast, which is super exciting. I don't know if you know the actor Doug Jones.
No.
Okay, I bet you do. You just don't know his name.
Okay.
Have you seen Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer?
Yes.
He was the Silver Surfer.
Oh, very cool.
He's
Okay.
also Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies. And
Oh, wow.
And
So,
he was
yeah,
in
I would know.
Pan's Labyrinth. He was
Definitely will know him then. Okay.
He's like most sought after like creature actor.
Okay.
I was recently cast in a project with him.
Awesome.
Which is super exciting, and we're sort of in that like we don't know when we're going to be able to film because we have to work around his schedule sort of thing. But it's called Whispers from the Shadows, and it is a Lovecraftian story, and I'm playing a creature. I'm not a person. I
Okay.
have like wings and no eyes, and
Who is behind this production? Is it a company?
so the
Is it
person
a
that I
person?
had contact with is named Marks Pyle.
How did they find you?
I did a web series that he co-directed several years ago.
And you got that through like a Gen Con meeting, or how did that, like, it just somebody you knew?
I honestly think that I was at a point in my career where I was sort of starting out, and I was wanting to do things that weren't directed by me or written by, like, directed by my husband or written by me. I wanted to diversify, and I caught wind that somebody was doing this series, and I emailed them and was like, I think you should put me in this. And they were like, cool, and they did. And
So do you have headshots and stuff that you're sending
do.
out and the whole thing? And then did you
my
send a
husband
reel?
took them.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I have a reel. Yeah,
So again, it's like you start off just doing what you're going to do. You don't stop.
Right.
You don't even care.
And I've been building,
and
like,
you do the
resume
best
and-
quality you can do at the time that you're doing it.
Right.
And then I've seen the proof is in the pudding. You know, it
keep
it
going.
keeps getting
and
better.
every time you do something, I learn like, okay, well, that was not a good choice that I made there, and I'm gonna try something new. And I use each opportunity, even like each audition, as like, this is a chance for me to be that character.
But already,
for a
this is
minute.
like probably might this be one of the biggest productions you've been a part of? This forthcoming piece with the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's.
It's interesting because I think I'm at a point where I don't have to say yes to everything anymore, which is, and I know that I don't ever have to say yes to everything, but like,
But you
there is a
built the
part-
point that you're
right.
at piece by piece. It's just
Right.
like every brick of the wall that you were currently sitting on, you've built.
right.
And that's such a lesson to people
where
out there who want to do
I can
this.
start having it pay me. Not,
Yeah.
not a ton, but it's not costing me anything anymore, and it's covering things, and I'm able to sort of, I've been able to pick projects based on like, I have to get paid somehow, whether that's monetary or in connections with somebody, or maybe just because the project looks super rad and it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be paid in money, connections, or enjoyment.
Oh, this
and
is awesome.
And if I can look at it and it can fulfill at least one of those things, then I'll probably take it. Because I have been burned in the past of like, well, yeah, I don't know that I'm super excited about this project, but I'm not doing anything, so I'm going to do it. And then I get on set and I'm like, oh, I've made a bad choice.
Oh, no.
And I still always do my best, and I do my work, and I get out of there. But like, I would rather like take something for less money that I'm more excited about.
Sure.
Than take something that I don't really
You're
feel a fire for, you know?
Yeah.
So.
But again, lesson learned.
Right. So, and I can sort of put that together. And I've been doing a lot of photo shoots that I build my costume, and they're all geeky stuff because I want to make sure that
You make your own costumes?
I do for the
Another layer of you. Wait,
Photoshop.
we're to take the 1 second pause here. 1 second. So it's like an eye blink to the audience.
Ta-da!
6 minutes or so of just pleasantness for us to heat up our coffee. All right, so yeah, that's when you're not doing all of this stuff. Again, you got to do what you got to do.
Got to do something.
You're a princess.
I am a princess.
Do you make those too, or no?
I don't. Those are company.
So once in a while, I might see you at a party.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a certain crowd of people who know me. Like the lady from Atlanta who, whatever, was moved by a song I wrote called "Flow" from my Voice Print CD. Great. She knows me as that guy.
Right.
But then this Saturday I'll be at somebody's wedding singing Jesse's Girl,
singing covers.
So it's funny how people don't, they don't always, and you've got that thing. We all need that because you have to do what you do.
You got to do something.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, I like to keep my face out there. So when I'm not shooting and releasing something, I do photo shoots that I engineer myself.
But then are you also the party person?
I also go to parties.
Yeah.
So I do that through a company called Magic Music and More.
Is there a character that you're always, or do you have like 3 or 4?
I am, my favorite is Ariel.
Okay.
She's my favorite. I do also Elsa.
Oh, nice.
From
Well, you have
Frozen,
to now.
because everybody wants Elsa at their party. So I've sang "Let It Go" 732,000 times.
Oh, you have to sing when you get there too.
I do.
But do you really? Because once you hit the first line, aren't they all?
They all
in?
say. Well,
Yeah.
Okay, so there's. Sometimes they sang it with you. Sometimes they're like, I am with you. And sometimes they are so overwhelmed that they just stare at you open mouthed. And so you do have to sing.
So then what you're making, so then outside of that, when you make your own costumes, what's that for usually? Well, obviously Gamer Chick.
Right. Well,
And
we
if
usually
you guys
have
haven't gotten the
costumer.
point, watch Gamer Chick
Go
on
watch
YouTube.
Gamer Chick.
Gamer Chick Show. Put it in YouTube and watch it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And the thing is, it's always, some shows don't get better. The show keeps getting
just
better.
keeps improving.
It really does. It's cool. It's cool.
Yay.
Yeah. So do that, everybody. But you make costumes for other thing or for the photo shoots?
I do. My sewing skills are slowly improving, but what I
Look at that. You do it in film, you do it with cloth.
So what
Impressive.
I'm doing is I get base pieces and I tend to alter them. So like I did a photo shoot. One of my first ones that I ever did was a burlesque version of Princess Leia from episode 4.
Awesome. I don't think I've seen these.
It was so much fun. And so I got like a corset and I got little like ruffly hot pants and I made like a flounce that goes on the back. And then I made these fans that when you put them together, they look like the viewport from the Millennium Falcon. Because
This is all from your head?
Yeah, because they have fans.
I'm wondering if there's a single geek who's listening to the show that hasn't fallen in love with you by now. Like, it's like every layer. It's like this is like every layer that you add to your story is conceptually like a geek striptease.
It is a little
like
bit.
Right now, it's like you just finished all the
it's a dance of the seven veils,
like,
a little bit.
It's so funny.
But I loved it. It was so much fun, and I was really nervous about the shoot because I was like, oh, I'm not gonna know how to pose, and I'm not gonna know how to do it. And so like but I wanted my face out there because I was in like a dry spell for filming. So I was like, I'm going to put that out there. And I've done a steampunk version of Princess Jasmine. She was very fun. And then I've also done the Pinup Pixie. And I did a comic book shoot with my friend Jen Page, who I talked about earlier. That's where we did like the pop art makeup, where it looked like we were a comic strip. I did that one too.
So it's cool, man. I mean, you're
little bits.
You don't stop.
Yeah,
I noticed that your
really
dead time
antsy.
creates live time for something else.
Right. I like to keep.
You keep your dead time
going.
alive, which is
Yeah.
amazing. It's like it seems like there's always a new thing, and you take advantage of.
And my daughter has gotten bitten by the cosplay bug, I think, because she just did something recently. I don't know if you know Five Nights at Freddy's.
I do not.
It is a video game that's creepy, and it's like if the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese like came to life at night, kind of a thing. And
so wait a minute. Okay, finish your story, and then I get.
So she did.
A million questions.
She did for a talent show at school. A group of them sang the song from the video game as the characters.
All the girls knew this, or did she have to teach it?
No, there were several.
Okay.
There was like 5 of them, and they were all really into the game, and so they all came up with it. So I helped her build her costume.
Uh-huh.
And she looked adorable. She was like this purple bunny thing. And at the end of it, she was like, so I want to do another costume and maybe go to a convention with you. And I was like, oh no, you're starting so young of feeling that, like, because she was like wigged and had accessories and like ears, and we had painted her face and shit. Yeah, it was.
You have to send me some pics, and then we'll slap them on.
Very cute. Yeah, she was very cute about it.
So what does Sarah Moore want next? What do you want? I mean,
man,
you've got you're jonesing to get another Gamer Chick series.
I do.
Up and running, another season.
I actually wrote a short
Okay.
that is all set in the fantasy world for
Nice.
Gamer Chick, and I would love to shoot that.
Oh wait,
it's
Gamer Chick, but it's just
fantasy.
That is a great idea.
And
it's a great idea.
It's like it would probably be like 30 minutes long, but
Yeah.
we would be able to really like dive into stuff that we don't get to get into in the show.
Oh, that is awesome.
So that is
Yeah.
the next thing that I would really love to do, but
What a creative way to shake it up and change it up after a handful of seasons.
and it would probably like bridge a couple seasons the way that we
nice.
did it. So we
Nice.
could like connect to 2 seasons with it, but it's going to cost much more than we have been operating with.
Sure.
lately.
Just production costs.
Yeah, because now we've been able to get away with in the series really not having a ton of like extras in the fantasy world. Like we've costumed our couple
Sure.
of people that we see on a regular basis, and like that's kind of all we need to do. But in the fantasy world, season 4, we were able to add like a professional makeup artist who gave us like prosthetics. So like I have little fairy ears in season 4. And like we're going to need a lot more of those.
So how do you go about that? Are you doing a Kickstarter, or are you just kind of going to figure it out, kind of take that? That's in the drawing boards.
That's
stage
sort
right
of
now.
like something that I would love to happen sometime soon. But
in the meantime, then the realistic what I can do next week. What is Sarah Moore up to?
I've been working so much. I kind of just want to like take a bath.
Yeah. Good.
Just
Good,
wanna,
man.
Like, want to take a bath and like have like a hard cider and just like sit down for a few minutes. Because I also work. So I currently am working. I have shoots coming up, like indie film shoots.
Okay.
And then I also work as the princess thing on the weekends.
Right.
And then I also pose for an art class. I do that like 2 times a
Oh,
week.
right. You mentioned that. Like, where do you do that
I
at?
do that at South Suburban College.
And it's an actual, like, I started at, like, are you like, oh, I'm a princess here? Or are you like, no, I'm naked?
No, I'm naked.
Every time? Mm-hmm. Okay, I have to ask. How did you get that? Tell me it wasn't through Gamer Chick, because then it's creepy.
No, it was not through Gamer
Like,
Chick.
oh, by the way.
I've been posing for art classes for like 16 years.
Where did that even? Wait, you've been like naked in front of people for 16 years?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So I went away to school.
Okay.
And I went to a liberal arts college. And there's a lot of art there. And as a freshman, you don't generally get cast in like main stages that the school does.
I hope there's like a credit thing, like, okay, you know what, this class is
No,
free,
you get
but you have to be.
paid.
Oh, you get paid. Okay.
Yeah, you get paid. So I ended up going, like, I didn't get cast in something that first semester.
Wait, where's the current place at?
South Suburban.
So you're telling me how long have you done it at South Suburban?
This is the first class that I've posed at South Suburban for.
Have you already done one, or
Yeah, I've done a couple already.
how many people in the
3,
class?
12.
If you had to guess.
12 or 15, something like that.
All right, and it's been the same semester, or it's been a few different classes, different groups of people.
Same class.
So the
for
same
this
12
one,
people.
Yeah, for this.
So right now, littered around this city, a dozen people. There are naked pictures of you just all over the place.
Yep, sketches.
Wow. Do you just walk up kind of all bare-butted and you're like, and peeking? Let's see what you're doing.
So I have a robe.
Okay.
That's very comfortable. It's actually my husband's robe. I stole it from him. And I've been using it for years when I go and pose. But I started posing in college when I was like 18. And then, and my dad is an artist. And so when I told my parents, it was like, whatever.
How hard was it that first day?
Terrifying.
Okay.
Terrifying.
Well, what makes you, but forget the first day. What makes you able to say yes before the first day? Like, were you like, crap? Or were you like, no, okay, I'll try this.
I did
it's hot. I'd like to be aired out.
I didn't get cast in anything. The cast list had just gone up, and I like turned, and next to it was like this thing that was like, we're looking for models. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to do it.
And does
Let's
it
just
say
go.
nude in the...
Oh, yeah, like they want you to know.
All right.
Like you're going to be naked.
So that's safe.
And so I went in and I met the professor, and and they were like, okay, if you don't feel comfortable with it, then don't do it. But
Sure.
This is what we need. And then my advisor down at school she had been posing for life drawing classes for like 30 years. And so I went to talk to her, and she was like, this is what you can expect. And it's really professional, and it's a really comfortable environment here. And if you get in there and you feel at all uncomfortable ever, just stop. Like, no one's forcing you to do it.
Sure.
And the first day was really scary because, like, you go in and I was in a robe or something. He was like, all right, go ahead and drop your robe. And, like...
So everyone's there.
And
do you greet? They
were upperclassmen, and so they had... It's not like this is the first one that they had ever drawn,
Yeah.
So, like...
But even in life?
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah. But wait, when you walk in, are you like, hello, everybody?
Hi.
Like, or are you not really engaging them?
I didn't
I'm sure you're not
engage
shaking
them
hands.
at first. Like,
Okay.
at the beginning, like...
Yeah.
When I first started posing, I wasn't super.
Did you have a
confident about
cocktail
that.
before doing this? Like,
I did not.
before
You know
walking
what?
in?
It was really scary, but it forces you to become comfortable with your body kind of instantaneously.
Sure.
And so by like the end of the semester,
You're like, woo!
It was like I wasn't even coming in
Yeah.
with my robe closed
You were just
like
walking
whatever.
in naked.
Because
You were actually walking to the building naked. You were so comfortable. You're like,
you guys have all seen me naked.
Here I am. You're driving to the class just butt naked.
But then I also got, and then I did it all through school, and then I left school and took a mini break from doing it, and then I started again because there was an art gallery in downtown Highland, and they were teaching classes, and I went and did that.
You've been naked in Highland, Indiana?
I have.
Wow, man. Mm-hmm. It's like a kind of a bare butt tour.
It is. It's all over the place. And then I posed at IUN, and I posed and so now I'm posing at South Suburban, and Yeah.
Now it's nothing then. Now it's just like...
It's interesting because I've found that the artists are generally much more uncomfortable than I am at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like the students, like a regular artist, like an artist is not uncomfortable. And I've posed for...
Have you ever been tempted just to like write the words hello on your belly?
Just like...
Or just...
do stuff?
just the word hey on one boob and sailor on the other, nothing like that?
That would be amazing. I actually think it's really funny that I get a lot of apologies from the students who are drawing.
What do they apologize for? For the work or for
the work?
I'm looking at you.
For the work, like because you get breaks because your body gets really tired because you have to be so still.
Is it? Are you more or less just? Is it an awkward position? Or is it just, I mean, is it just, do they pose you in something that's kind of hard to hold?
I generally get to pose myself.
Oh, good. Okay.
And since I've been doing it for so long, I kind of know what I can and cannot do.
Because how long is a session? How long are you sitting still?
Well, the class is 3.5 hours. And so I get a break about every 30 minutes. So I'll be in a position for 30 minutes and then I'll get up and jump. I mean, sometimes like
a girl can be like, she just like stood there the whole time naked.
Yeah,
and it's okay.
You would think that would be, but like if you think about how many micro adjustments that you make during the course of sitting there, you cannot make them.
Yeah.
So it can get, and like.
So you'd be like a good sniper.
Yeah. And you want
Perfect ninja.
You want to be able to like be in an interesting position for them to draw. And so
what would interesting, like, I guess it's hard to translate that for the podcast, but
angles and like negative space, but you have to balance that out with like the fact that you have to hold it for a really long time.
When's the next naked time?
Naked
class?
Time. I pose on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Oh, this is ongoing. Like you have summers off, or?
Well, this class goes until April.
I'll need proof, but I'll buy you brunch if you go in with your gamer chick ears on.
With my ears on?
Yes,
I do have extra ears at home. That would be great. I bet the artist would love that, actually.
Walk in with your ears on.
He would think that would be, he would think that was rad, like to give them an extra.
But you're such a go-getter, like you're not tempted to just like put gamer chick on one butt cheek.
Just like stamp the website on my back.
Yeah, just one ass cheek has watch and the other one gamer chick, watch gamer.
I actually do have a tattoo on my lower back. I have like the ohm on my, like at the base of my spine, and so people, that's in all the drawings when they sketch me.
Oh yeah, because sometimes you're like dead center in the room.
Yeah.
So then the people behind you are drawing something. They're not all.
That, yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
What a crazy gig.
It's super.
Do you feel like, okay, I have to stay fit because people see me naked, or no? It's art. You don't care. You're just like, you know what?
I had an artist tell me like, and maybe I just clung to this, but I had an artist tell me that when people are learning to draw, they need to learn how to draw every kind of body. So it's not like if you don't have a perfect body that you can't be here. And so he was like, don't feel like you need to kill yourself at the gym if you're going to come in here, because, and like, don't feel like you need to shave your legs because whatever, like just come in and just be how you are, so.
Doesn't that make you want to at least like really let it out there and come in with one hairy leg session? Just like.
You know what? I actually my legs were super hairy the last time I went because it was so cold outside that I was like, I'm going to use that for extra warmth.
Yeah, this is real, boys. This is real. And what's the ratio, boys to girls in the class?
It's about half and half.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this. But so, ladies and gentlemen, you could find her completely clothed during most scenes of Gamer Chick until we get to the fantastical scenes, in which case, there's a little bit of skin showing.
There's a little bit of ab peeking.
That's like the middle ground. And then enroll in the right class, you'll see her completely naked. So they can see you in all different levels.
Yeah,
not even just artistically.
It's also really interesting
physically.
Because compliments that you get from an artist much different.
Like you have nice lines or something, right?
Flowing musculature. is something that I heard. Like, you have beautiful flowing musculature, and like that's not something that you can work into like casual conversation when you're trying to like pick somebody up. Like, hey, look at that flowing musculature you got there. That's fun.
Like in a bar, that sounds like someone's having a bad bowel movement.
Right?
Yeah, no,
Right.
that doesn't sound sexy at all.
It's not good.
But in the context of, of an art class, it sounds pretty impressive.
Perfect, right?
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah. I wonder,
but and also one that he said at the last one, which made me laugh, is he pointed out, he was like, oh, she's got really good angles. Like, look at her gorgeous pelvic bone. And I was
pelvic bone.
what a strange world I live in. That
That's
this is
pretty
the
odd.
kind of thing that I get.
Oh man.
But it's good for your self-esteem because you come out of there being like, I am hot. Like, I've got all of these great, amazing things. Musculature.
Flowing.
It's amazing.
Oh, now you're gonna. I've got to buy some shirts that just show my pelvic bone.
Pelvic
bone.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, those pelvic bone bikini line that you're going to come out with.
It's just such
gonna
a strange.
Have you guys seen the Gamer Chick pelvic bone bikini line?
So good.
Well. I like now. I need to see everything. I can't wait. I don't mean you physically. I mean I need to see all these pieces that are going to be happening.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
And then I need to have you back on for like some geek chat because we've only like scratched the surface of all that comic book stuff.
So much iceberg underneath.
We have a lot. There's going maybe for like when Avengers 2 comes out because that's right around the corner and all that. But I think the basic thing we walked around like away with from that portion was. Hey, DC, figure it out. Mm-hmm. Watch Marvel.
Well, I think what they need to do is just cast me in something.
You would make there's going to, I think in comic book land, Thor became a female now.
He became a lady.
Yeah, but again, it's
Lady
all
Thor.
laid out there just.
But like, I have sort of a deep obsession with Wonder Woman, and
she's going to be in there.
But I can't play Wonder Woman because I'm 5'3". And she's an Amazon.
They change everything. In the comic books, Wolverine is 5'2".
I know.
He's this little, tiny, spunky guy. And
but
Hugh Jackman kills it,
he does.
by the way.
But
it'd be very interesting to see that character who everybody like calls Half Pint in the comic books.
Right.
I mean, come on. That would be very cool to see.
Well, I just got cast in a superhero spoof, Superhero Poker Showdown. Which is like...
You need to create... Wait a minute. Before you get into this, because this is like project number 12.
Hey, there's a lot.
Is it just social media? Is it just Facebook? Like, there needs to be a way for you to list everything that you're doing in one place, like a website or something. Is there something...
I have my actor page on Facebook. And I also have a Twitter account that I tweet about.
So I guess Facebook, they're just looking for Sarah Moore.
Actor Sarah Moore. And my profile picture is me with a pink wig in comic book makeup. Okay,
so remember that, folks, because there's a lot going on. The small roles, the big roles, there's just so much, man. I mean, we couldn't even get, you would like be a 3-hour episode, But, I mean, seriously, and just going back, like, to the beginning, like, before all of this, because you're so well versed in geekdom on top of everything.
I'm so much geek.
There's so much geek, yet the actress, the nudist, everything. Where did the geek come from?
I think it's kind of always been there.
I mean, but what happened? Was somebody a gamer growing up, or what? How does a girl?
My brother was.
Okay,
because my brother played Dungeons and Dragons when we were growing up, and now actually he and I do a game over Roll20, so like over the internet. Mm-hmm. We have a D&D.
And then where did the comic book thing come from? Because you said that she said this off the mic that she reads fables.
Yeah, I do.
But that's fine. But you also know. I mean, you're talking to me about Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, Batman. Yeah. Like how did that happen?
My dad is an artist, and my grandfather was a cartoonist, and so we just sort of had like art in all of its forms around my house growing up.
All right.
I think I just kind of fell into it, really.
Because you're the real deal. I can spot a phony a mile away.
I know all of the geek.
And talking to you, you're like the real,
Yeah.
And another thing, I like I said while we were reheating our coffee, it's either I only run into like hardcore gamers or comic book. Mm-hmm. because I'm not necessarily gamer guy. In fact, we'll have a hang and I'll just ask you some game. Maybe I should.
You should count.
Yeah.
We should like break your gaming cherry.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I would be down, and I'm actually more interested in what you guys present in the show, like the kind of sitting down.
Yeah.
Like I've
At the
never
table.
done that.
So good. It's
I'm
my
very
favorite
intimidated
kind.
talking about it right now. So yeah, for non-gamers out there, you say that's like the cool, a good fun bonding thing.
Part of it, for a big portion of it, of course, is telling the story with this dice and being in this world and being able to pick your things, but also like it's a social thing. Like these people at the table are such good friends of mine, and sometimes this is the only time that I get to see them.
Have you had somebody who's like nowhere near the gamer, like complete cherry popped, and then they come in?
Oh yeah, I actually for a long time I joked that I was the marijuana of gaming because
Okay.
I would bring I was so vocal about how much I loved it and how I didn't really give a shit if other people thought it was weird.
Yeah.
Like this is my thing and I like it, and I would have people, especially my like girlfriends, would come up to me and be like, "Hey, so I've been wanting to try this, but like it's really intimidating because all of my guy friends have been doing it for like ever, and I feel stupid because I don't know what I'm doing." And I'm like, "No, don't feel stupid. Come over." And like, so I actually have 2 groups now that are all women that
Wow.
game.
And they're in it.
Yeah, and so we like rotate who is the game master.
It seems like a nice bridge between somebody like me who likes, the comic books and stuff to just go in. And I just like the whole fantastic. I'm a huge Star Wars buff
It's
as well.
acting with dice. And
Oh,
so
that's
if you're
cool.
interested in acting,
Yeah.
that's improv, but it's sort of guided
That
improv.
is primarily what I love is
Yeah.
improv.
And you can find like people love Dungeons and Dragons. I know that a lot of people think of just that as like, well, I'm going to sit down with an RPG and it's Dungeons and Dragons. But there's Star Wars and there's Serenity and there's Supernatural and there's...
Huge Serenity fan too, by the way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. We ran a Serenity campaign for about 2 years, like once a week for 2 years. Our
Wow.
characters got so overpowered that
Campaign.
like we had
See,
to
that
like...
sounds so cool. Even the wording, I'm so out of that. All right, I'm
It's
probably
good,
going to let
man.
you.
It's
I'll
good.
have to report to everybody how it works out, but maybe that'll be. We're going to actually have to have a regular hang because I want to geek out with you.
Yes. One of our ones
But then
that
I'm
we're
gonna have to
doing
do
right
this
now,
too.
man, is Atomic Robo, which is based on a comic book, which is amazing.
weird.
Atomic Robo is a robot built by Nikola Tesla.
Okay.
In the story, and he is like government agent, and he like goes in when they can't send anybody else in to fix stuff. And so it's like this sort of pulp adventure, but it can span time and it can be at like whenever you want because he's a robot and he lasts forever. And we're doing a campaign of that right now, and I'm like a ninja kind of. I always play a rogue. I always sometimes say I'm not
kind
gonna,
of?
Yeah, she's like a thief, mercenary person. She hides in a lot of air ducts. I always go, I'm not going to play a rogue. I'm going to do something different, and I should just embrace it because I always end up playing a rogue. I'm the sneaky one that disappears into the night and then stabs you in the back and steals all your shit, and that's my job.
Sweet, sweet girl.
Yeah, because I'm small and tiny, and that's what I do in every
right.
game, and I'm like, I just should own that. I should just own it.
Well,
I
I'm
always
glad
play
you
a rogue.
do. Well,
Play a
God, did you have fun? 'Cause
I
this
did.
Is, like,
I had a delightful time.
again, you didn't know. It's hard to like decide, see what you're getting into. But
Yeah, we're just gonna chat. I hit all my projects.
so, so from a marketing standpoint, you did what you needed to do.
I feel good. I feel like I represented everything that
Cool.
that I should. I ate cake. I geeked out about comic books.
We got to hang. This is a hang.
This is good
This
stuff,
whole thing
man.
is a hang. Well, people find her.
Yeah, man.
I mean, there's not much she doesn't do at this point.
It's
so,
true.
like, writer, creator, actress, princess nudist. Now, princess nudist is not one word.
No,
Just so
separate.
you know.
There's a comma.
Yeah. So, but seriously, find Sarah Moore, man. You're charming. You're a hard worker, and that's like the best combination. Like a passionate, charming, hard worker who seems to want to look for the next big thing for your heart, but also you're so interested in the improvement of the process.
Yeah,
And
I just
you
like
finish
having fun,
things,
man.
The whole, yeah. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud. I mean,
Thank
it's funny
you.
to say that, but I knew you before you were doing all these things that, you know, and I've met a lot of people similar to you, like, oh, I'm going to be working on this thing, you know, and I don't know where they are now.
Right.
I haven't seen product from a lot of them, and to see just you go from, you know, A to M. Somebody else at my door. I'm not even.
It's a party today.
But it's just been a blast. So people, Sarah Moore,
Yay.
find her.
Find me.
Find her online.
I'm around.
Gamer Chick Show. This has been a party. I'm so happy you did this. I'm so happy you had fun.
too.
We're going to have her back for a geek show. But yeah, just enjoy yourselves. You're going to see a great process. If you want to know about production and moving forward with a production, you've heard her tell the tale, but now, you know, watch it unfold, watch it happen, because it's a lot of fun. Find her on social media. And what is the company called again?
Romeo's Faux Studios.
Just do it, people. Do it. So I hope you guys have had a good time. Enjoy your day, enjoy your month, enjoy your week. It was nice talking to you, Sarah.
Nice talking to you.
All right, well, go out and find your smile, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome to my life so far. You'd think by now I'd be a star. I may be long-winded, but hey, there's just so much I have to say. Maybe lick your lips when you're hungry. Maybe drop your head when you're sorry. Maybe shake a bit when you're worried. That's just